Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti. The previous chapter, Theory of Perception, we saw that the perception or the knowledge of the world happens because of the subject plus object, the union of subject and object in the medium of Brahman. This accounts for the perception. This is what we saw. The question comes is, when the subject is also made up of the same 5 elements, the object is also made up of the same 5 elements, what is creating the division that this part of it is subject and that part of it is object? Isn't it? The subject is made up of the subtle elements, same panchabhutas, and objects are also made up of the same elements. Only difference is subtle and gross, but it is the same thing. How that division happens, how we are getting the notion that the subject seems more real than the object. Right. Now, what creates that? From where that comes is the inquiry now. That is where we say this is the effect of Maya. Because we have seen only 3 things. Subject is there, object is there, Brahman is there. Underlying reality. Now, underlying reality cannot be participating in any one of these things. It cannot be doing, because the very definition we gave it is Sakshi, witness. So witness is not going to be doing anything. But from where does that notion of sense of higher reality, higher order of reality that we attribute to the subject? Because all of us can doubt whether God is existing or not. There's no problem. Correct. Everybody asks. But have you ever seen anyone asking, do I exist? Imagine if someone comes and asks you, do I exist? The fact that he is asking the question is a proof that he is existing, no? Then have you ever had a doubt on that? You have never doubted on my existence. Is it really water there in the mirage? We have doubted at times. Are you the person who I knew? Are you that same person? We have asked. We have doubted that also. Right? In our day-to-day experiences, we have doubted so many things. Is it that or this? What is that? We have a doubt. Now, one thing we have never doubted is this. Now, from where we are getting that sense of reality, from where we are getting that deep-rooted conviction that I am. because that cannot be stemming from Brahman directly. Why? Because of the fact that we don't know that. Right? What is giving it? What is creating the division? What is creating that sense of reality is where they have given this idea called Maya or Mithya. So in the study of Maya, we started this with the very, very dry, absolutely theoretical analysis. The last class has been purely theoretical analysis. What is the Lakshana? What is the Pariksha? What is this? What is that? What is objection for that? For that objection, what is the reply given to that objection? By knowing all that, what are you going to achieve? Right? One full class. Even if you delete the class in the series, nothing is going to be lost in the series. Even if you are not there, it will not make any difference. But we spent that time. Why? Before you can go on to seeing how you are stuck in that Maya, you need to theoretically understand first what is that Maya. And by theoretical understanding and by deepening your theoretical understanding is where you gain that perception to see how you are stuck, how Maya is functioning in your life, in you. So the study of Maya, this, giving this definition for Maya, it is not, you can't define it with certainty, but this same rule is applicable for Brahman also. The same rule is applicable for Asat. Also for Shunya. Because Shunya also you cannot explain beyond words. Asat also beyond words. Brahman also beyond words. Maya also beyond words. Now, how many are there? Now, there are 4 things beyond words now. So, all beyond words are saying? We say, no. That's where we said the definition should be complete. What is a completion? You cannot definitely say in words, certainly it is or it is not. In that sense only it is beyond words. Anirvachya. This Anirvachya is the first point we saw with reference to what is this Maya. Anirvachya means what, sir? It is not having a proper foundation. Anadhikaranatva. For what? For certainly you can't say it is Sat or Asat, whether it is existing or not existing. This is the first point we saw. And then objection, and then reply, and all that is how it is applicable only for this, how it is not applicable for this, and all that. Then we move to the next definition. Another aspect. Now all this put together is called Maya. So it is not just only one piece. The second one we saw is that which gets eliminated, that which can be eliminated. That is Maya or Mithya. Anything that which gets eliminated. The possibility for elimination, nisheda, negation. There is a possibility for negation exists only in this. Then we go to when that possibility comes in. The possibility for nisheda itself comes into picture only when something is existing or experienced. When I see that something to be existing, and when I see something to be experienced by me, then I probe into it as an inquiry. If it gets deleted, eliminated, then it is Maya. So I see something. Example we saw is the plastic grapes. I see something. I see that as real fruit. And then I assume that, then you tell me, no, that's not real fruit. Why? Because of it's experienced by me. Since I'm experiencing it, inquiry is done. As a result of inquiry, as a result of this, gets lost, gets deleted. So anything that gets eliminated becomes Mithya or Maya. This is the second point we saw. So that which is, when you are believing it to be existing somewhere, it need not be right in front of my eyes. Remember that. I believe it to be existing somewhere. What is the kids and all, they come, no? One day for, chocolates, they dress themselves up and they come and ask only for chocolates. Some, festival they call it. I'm forgetting the name. Halloween, correct. Halloween. There they come with all that. Now, I go and open the door, the kids are there. I see the kids, they are standing, uncle, chocolate. Yes. I say, oh, I go to the fridge. My wife is sitting in the hall. She says, there is no chocolate in the fridge. There's no chocolate in the fridge, she says. When I come back, I go to the fridge to drink water. She's not going to tell me there is no chocolate. Isn't it? In this context, she says what? There is no chocolate. Why? I believed that chocolate existing inside the fridge. Therefore, I reach to the fridge, believing it to be existing there. I will not run to my cupboard in search of a chocolate. I will not open my purse and search for a chocolate there. You see, that's not going to happen. So, the possibility for nisheda itself comes into picture when I believe something to be existing somewhere at some time. In the past, in the present, or in the future, doesn't make any difference. Remember that. Anything that is experienced in the present, past, future, or somewhere it must have existed. I believe in it. It can be even when you are talking about heaven, hell experiences and all that. Possible. You see, it's not necessarily it has to be only this loka. You can even talk about Brahmaloka, Indraloka, and your Patala. Doesn't make any difference. Like, I believe the existence of chocolate, same way I believe in the existence of heaven, hell. As far as Vedanta is concerned, there is no difference between chocolate and heaven and hell. It is the same thing. Why? Because I believe in the existence of it somewhere. So, the negation itself comes into picture when the need for negation. First, you need to establish that. Only then you should go for anything that gets negated, gets eliminated. That becomes Maya, or that becomes Mithya. This is the second one we saw. Then we have the third one, Jnana Nivartatvam. Anything that gets eliminated by knowledge only. That is the derivation of the previous point. Right? Because I am hungry. Example only. Right? I am feeling hungry. I go and eat. My hunger gets eliminated. Therefore, can you say hunger is Maya, Mithya? There is a dirt. The shirt has a dirt. I take the shirt, wash it, and put it on. The dirt gets eliminated. Can that become Mithya? Vedanta says no. That is not Mithya. Therefore, there is a further qualification to that previous point. Anything that gets eliminated by knowledge, that is called Mithya. The moment knowledge comes, whatever goes as a result of the arrival of knowledge, jnanam, wisdom, whatever words you use. Whatever is left, that is called Mithya. This is the next definition. So we start asking questions on this. Sir, does it mean that anywhere that knowledge comes, this goes, you call that as Maya? Correct. Then, just in the previous chapter, you only explained that TO1, TO2, TO3. Remember? You only gave the equation? Yes, sir, I only gave the equation. Thought 1, thought 2, thought 3. Because of thought 1, thought 2, thought 3, thought 4, thought 5 is how perceptions keeps on happening. So what is happening, sir? Perception 1, perception 2, perception 3, perception 4, etc. is going on happening. Correct? Correct. When the perception were to be shifting from the system, I shift here, door. What has happened? I saw the system, computer. From here, I saw the door. Computer is different. Door is different. Correct? The door is possible. Perception of the door was possible because of the thought of door plus qualities of door in the backdrop of Brahman. Correct? No? Correct. which means the thought of computer got eliminated by the thought of the door. When I gained the knowledge of the door, what has happened to the thought of computer? Thought of computer got eliminated? No. Therefore, the thought of computer is what? You call it mithya. This is the objection for these people. That's how you test it. Now, see, don't think that objections when we say they're actually somebody else is asking. That's how it will be spoken of. You know, you assume as though there is another person and as though he is asking. No, that's not what it is. This is called the process of reflection. You think. How do you go about it, sir? This is how you go about it. You presume as though there is another person asking a question based on what you have said. Or he will bring his own. That is another angle, right? But from what you have said, he derives. He said, a thought gets displaced by the next thought. The next thought is the knowledge. That's what you said. Me being aware of a thought in me, my mind, is called knowledge. Right? I know. That is knowledge, he said. He says, so by the knowledge of the door, I have eliminated the knowledge of the computer. Therefore, computer is what? Mithya. Correct? Correct, man. Then what has happened? I looked at the door. Now I'm looking at the computer. Now what has happened? Knowledge of the computer has displaced the knowledge of the door. According to your definition, door is now what? Mithya. 30 seconds before you said, door is real, computer is mithya. Now you are saying, computer is real, door is mithya. Make up your mind. Therefore, your definition of saying knowledge displacing anything that gets displaced, anything that gets eliminated by, destroyed by knowledge is called mithya. It doesn't stand valid. Doesn't seem to be complete. This is how questions will be raised. What you need to understand is there is a flaw in every question there. You don't worry about it. That is where penetrative understanding is. Understanding is to find out where he is making a mistake in the question. So we say, correct, man. But then, when the thought of computer gets displaced by the thought of the door, does it mean the thought of computer got destroyed completely? Or it has just gone into unmanifested? It is not in the surface. It is pushed down. That's all. From the conscious state, it is pushed down to, you can call it as subconscious or unconscious, whatever word you want to use. It has just moved out because mind is not capable of having parallelly two thoughts. The mind is like that hourglass. At any point of time, only one grain alone can pass through it. That is the size of that. Only one grain can pass through. It can hold as many as possible, but the passage is only one. The conscious at any point of time, you can have only one. You cannot have more than that. So when the thought of computer comes back, what happened to the thought of the door? Don't say again it has got destroyed. It is not destroyed, because destroyed means it cannot be resurfacing. That's called destruction, isn't it? It is eliminated, removed, it's got deleted, means you cannot be bringing back. You cannot recreate it. That is called destruction. If something can be recreated, you don't call it as destruction. What is it called? It is called as, it has only changed from one form to the another form. From the manifested form, it has gone into unmanifested form. Therefore, your objection doesn't stand valid. Why? Because in your example, in your objection, you have never destroyed. It has just moved from Vyaktam, Avyaktam, Vyaktam, Avyaktam. That's all it is. Only two things. Therefore, my dear boy, not allowed. Therefore, you have no reason to question this. So anything that gets eliminated is not. Anything that gets eliminated by the arrival of knowledge, that is called Maya. This is the basic, very basic definition of it. Otherwise, you will be, then of course there are complicated, further complex analysis were there by these people to establish these points. Further clarifications and all that, but that much is not necessary at this stage. So what we need to understand about what is Maya? It is, you cannot certainly clearly say whether it is existing or not existing. And that gets eliminated by the arrival of knowledge. That's all the classes. All that we have discussed so far is only these 2 points. What are they, sir? First one, I repeat. That which cannot be clearly or certainly said to exist or not existing. Exist or not. That is one. Now I am clubbing the second and third together. The second and third, when you club, it gets only 1 point. What does it say? Anything that gets eliminated by the arrival of knowledge, jnanam, or to put it more clearly, wisdom. Jnanam or wisdom, or you can loosely call it as knowledge also. There's no harm in that, but just for more precise or more clear, is this one. So what is this? This is called Maya. Now this is the Lakshana of Maya. What is the Lakshana of it? What is the meaning of Maya? So what are the things that we have seen so far? What is it existing? Now we can say there are certain things in the world that are seem to be existing. Certain things we know they are not existing. Also, there is a thing called this Maya now. We know some things are there. Certainly, yes, it is there. Proof is your perception. You're seeing it, no? Yes, sir, it's there. Certain things you can say, sir, it is not existing, it is your imagination. Isn't it? You can dismiss that, saying it is just a sheer imagination, sir. There's no reality. They are called asat. So what is it, sir? There are certain things we say sat does exist, and then we say there are certain things which is asat, which we know for certainly not existing. Now, what are we supposed to do the inquiry? From the previous study, there is no necessity for us to make any effort to inquire into asat, something which we know as not existing. So asat gets taken out of equation. So what is now there? Sat is there. Certainly we know this is existing. What is it that we know certainly existing? The world we know for certainly existing. That when you probe is where you arrive at this point. What is that? Is it always existing? Does it exist everywhere? You say, no, it doesn't seem to be existing always. The world. Now we ask the question, does the world fit into real existence? No. Does the world fit into non-existence? No. Why? Because we are experiencing. You cannot say, don't say world is not existing. Right? Don't go to a master and say, world is not existing, sir. World is illusion. World is Maya. World is a magic. Don't say that. He will give one whack. Right? You can't say. Nor can you say the world is. So, world is fitting into the definition of what? World fits into the definition of Nitya, Maya. So the world means what? Which world? Which world? The world that you are perceiving, the world that you are experiencing, the world that you are knowing, all that you know, all that you experience, all that you perceive is the world. That world fits into the definition of Maya perfectly. Why? Maya by definition is what? You cannot say it is not existing, nor can you say it is existing. If you say it is existing, then we ask the question, where did it go when you went to dream? All the money that you had in your bank should have helped you to settle your dream, no? The food that you have in your fridge should have helped you to quench your hunger in the dream. It's not existing there, sir. Therefore, what? We say it is not, but it is experienced. Then what is it? It has a relative reality. You cannot say it is absolutely real, nor can you say it is absolutely unreal. Then what is it? It is relatively real, relatively unreal. Right? How can something be relatively real, also relatively unreal? Not possible. Then what is it? You can't define. That is exactly what we have established is the definition, is the meaning of Maya. Therefore, what is it, sir? This relative reality. Relative to what? Relative means what? Not absolute. Not absolute means what? It is temporary. Temporary means how long? How long the snake will exist as real? How long the snake will exist as real? So long as you are seeing the snake. Isn't it? So long as you are seeing the snake, the snake. We are talking about the example, rope and snake, okay? I'm not talking about the real snake. Example, rope and snake. Yeah, this is one of the most complete example. There are a few examples which are so complete. There's no way you can improvise. No one can, nothing will go missing in this example. That's why it is, popularly used in the scriptures. It's a rope and snake example. Rajju Sarpa, they'll go on saying everywhere they go. We say, with certainty, you cannot say it is not existing. With certainty, you cannot say it is existing. How long? How long as you are seeing. As long as you see it, it will exist. What are you seeing? The world. What is the world made up of? The world is made up of three things: time, space, causation. That's what he's analyzing first. The time, when, space, where, causation, wherefore of the world. Because people go on asking this question, from where is this world created? What is the cause of the world? What is the first cause of the world? Obviously, God is the creator. Problem solved. He said, no. We start inquiring into it. So, we are not inquiring Maya first. What are we inquiring, sir? We are inquiring the world, Jagat. Upon inquiring Jagat, we come to a conclusion about the nature of Jagat. That is Maya, Mithya. Okay. So Maya is not that. Remember, my eye will say that is door, this is computer. That's all. The door is different, computer is different. From where that comes? From where we are getting the notion that this is different, that is different. Your eye is not going to say that, remember. Your eye only says this is what it is, whatever it is. It says this is computer. It says this is door. Of course, if I change my eye, it will show that as something else. We are not worried about that. Right? Even then, it will say only what it is. From where are you getting the notion this is different, that is different? Different. The differences are coming from where? What is the root? What you are seeing is the world. In the world, you are seeing something also getting added to that. What is getting added to it? You say, this is different, sir, that is different, sir. Sir, I have ordered for masala dosa, not for set dosa. You fight, no. He says what? Hey, onion dosa, onion uttappa. Enna difference? If you turn it, it becomes dosa. If you don't turn it, it is uttappa. That's all it is. We have no. He'll say no. I have ordered only onion dosa. I don't want onion uttapam. This is different, that is different. Differentiation comes from where? You ask these questions. From where we are getting the notion that the subject is more real than the object? From where we are getting the notion that the subject is higher in order, objects are lower in order? From where we are getting the notion that it is real? From where we are getting the notion of differences, etc. So many notions are there. We can go on and on and on. All the notions that we are all generating, what is the root of all that? The root of all those notions is what is referred as Maya. So Maya is the cause. The effect is all these notions. Effect is Jagat. Effect is our understanding of Jagat in a particular way. So we are understanding it in a particular way. The rope is there. We are seeing the rope as a snake. Now we are not inquiring into what is that which made the snake. No, we start inquiring into snake first. Upon inquiry of the snake, we understand what? Hey, how is it possible? A rope creating snake. Rope cannot create snake. How can you get a snake out of a rope? There is a disconnect. But still, the rope alone created the snake. The truth is, rope has created the snake. Instead of a rope, if there were to be a stone, you will not say snake. Isn't it? A boulder, you will not look at a boulder and say there is a snake, there is a snake. So what is that, sir? It is, but at the same time we know, which means what? There is something in between snake and rope. There is something standing in between, which is converting the rope into snake. That is called Maya. So can you connect to Maya directly? No. You can't relate to Maya. You can't directly touch that. What you can probe, what you can investigate is snake. The Jagat can be investigated. The world can be investigated. Upon that investigation, we understand the nature of the world. So don't say that illusions, Maya, we are going to straight away attack Maya. First we probe into Jagat, then intellectually understand there is something beyond it, and then we probe into what is the nature of it. In that nature, we find that Maya has got two aspects. Two types are there, two angles to it. One is called intrinsic illusion, another one is called extrinsic illusion. There are two to it. That Maya, Shakti, that power, it has two powers. One, because a fellow who is standing in between, he has to do two things. What are the things he has to do? He should have the power to cover the rope, veil the rope. Also, he should have the power to project snake. That's why Maya is treated in the very early things. Maya is taken as magic. What does a magician do? He doesn't allow you to see it, but he projects something else and makes you see that. That's exactly what Maya is doing. That's why it's called as magic, like a magician's job. What are the two things? There are two. This is what is referred as avarana and vikshepa. And this vikshepa has two meanings. One is projection. Another one is confusing, disturbing. See, so vikshepa has two meanings to it. One is a projection power, another one is, in this context, it is projection power. As a result of that projection, confusion comes. So we say it has three. Maya has three powers, you can say. One is veiling power, concealing. Second one is projecting. The third one is deluding you, confusing you. It deludes. That's what we studied there in the topic, extrinsic and intrinsic illusion. What are the extrinsic, intrinsic illusion? These are the two, veiling power and this one. So these are the main ideas in the chapter. So first we are inquiring into what is the nature of Maya. Then we move on to the world fits into the definition of Maya. And then nature of Maya. The Maya has two aspects, two power to it, intrinsic and extrinsic illusions. And then he comes and says, the snake that you are seeing is actually a rope. The world that you are experiencing is actually Brahman. World is God. Finally, ask this question. Why should you bother about illusions? Right. The chapter concludes with this quick question. Why do you break your head, man, to understand what is this illusion and all this waste of time, all this. Now, why this illusion is important is through the analysis of the Jagat, you will finally come to conclusion of what? Go back to the theory of perception. World means what you know, what you perceive. That has two aspects, subject plus objects put together. By the understanding of Jagat, you understand the Jiva. The Jiva gets revealed. The real nature of Jiva gets revealed. So for that, you go into the study of this. So what you see as world has three aspects. World is made up of three things: time, space, causation. What we know. Wherever there is no time, there is no world. Wherever there is no space, there is no world. Wherever there is no causation, there is no world. How do you know? Vedanta says, where is world in deep sleep? In deep sleep, there is no world. Why there is no world? Because there is no notion of time there. There is no notion of space there. See, there is a notion of time in dream. Right? The notion of time in dream is different from the notion of time in the waking. But however, there is a notion of time. There is a notion of space in the dream. There is a notion of causation in the dream. however chaotic it could be, right? However disjoint it could be, however muddled it could be, doesn't make any difference. There is cause and effect. Some cause, some effect is there in the dream. Whereas when you come to deep sleep, there is no time, there is no space, there is no causation, there is no world. There is no experience of the world for you in deep sleep. Therefore, we say world is nothing but these three. You see the world, therefore we are accounting for it. Remember that. If you are not seeing the world, cannot. Your perception is possible only with reference to what is knowable. Right? If it is knowable, only you can. It should be perceivable. Your eye should be able to see. Then only you ask the question. Right? There should be. That's why those definitions are important. The Lakshana points what we have seen. So how this is the time, space, causation is world, and what is that which has supported this time, space and causation to be perceived by me is called Maya. So Maya is the cause. Effect is what? The world. What you can perceive, what you can describe, what you can understand is only the world, time, space, causation. You cannot understand, you cannot describe, you cannot perceive what is behind it. Maya is that which is behind it, beneath it, beyond it. So can you capture Maya, sir? Not possible. Maya is that which is. In fact, it is Maya that which is manifesting as time, space, causation. So what is manifesting, sir? It is that Maya is what is expressing itself as the world that we are experiencing. So when you understand the world, you have understood Maya. That is a connection. That's why first inquiry goes into the time, space, causation analysis of what is there, when is there, this is there. So a student comes and asks this question. When did the world begin? World means what? World means time, space, causation. Okay. So when you are asking the question, when did the world begin? You are asking the question, when did the time, at what time the time began? What is the answer you will give? At what point the space started? What is the starting point of space? What is that caused the causation to start? By asking this question, what are we doing? Vedanta says your question itself is flawed. You're asking a wrong question. To a wrong question, you can never expect a right answer. If your question is wrong, answer always will be what? Wrong. Sir, I have asked a wrong question, but I have got a right answer now. How is it possible? That can never happen unless you cheat. A wrong question you asked, but you got a right answer. Integration problem itself is wrong. There is a flaw in the problem itself. And the professor says, I have solved it. Or the student says, I have solved it. Now, anyone who has knowledge of mathematics will say what? Impossible. That's exactly what he is doing here. He says, what is the flaw in the very question itself? He asks the question, from where did this all begin? The perceived world known to me is this. Since I am perceiving the world, I believe it to be real. And what is it made up of? When I ask the question, what is this, sir? It is. But if it is to be real, it should be existing all the time. It does not seem to be existing. It is not experienced by me all the time. Therefore, it is not fitting into the definition of Sat. Also, you cannot say it is Asat, non-existent, because it is experienced by me. Therefore, what is it? It has a temporary existence. Temporary existence means what defines it as temporary? How long? How far? Sir, it is temporary. From this place to that place. From this point to this point. We have to define, no? From which point to which point we are going to say it is temporary. Within that, he is asking this question. The question of, there is a point, of course. Vedanta gives the point. What is the point? So long as you are seeing the snake will be existing. The moment you see the rope, what happens to the snake? So snake has a temporary existence only. The moment you get the knowledge of the rope, snake disappears. So we ask the same question here. How long? What is the problem, sir? The problem is the temporary nature of the world is treated as permanent. Right. On one hand, you believe in the permanency of the world. Also, we ask the question at what time it got created. Which means what? Before that it was not. Which means what? It is not a permanent one. It is a temporary one. Isn't it? The moment you say, see, one hand we say it is permanent. We believe in the permanency of the world. It is real. It is permanent. It is there. Sir, world is always there, sir. Only we have come and we are going. I am born. I am dying. World is always there. I enter. I exit. This is what our notion of the world is. Correct. If you believe that the world is permanent and you are impermanent, I am only temporary. World is permanent. Then why are you asking this question? From where did the world begin? Which means what? You believe in the world also must have had a starting point, no? My starting point, I know very clearly. What is the starting point of mine? July 15. Year I will not say. A lot of people give like that. Ask them, what's your birthday? They'll give the date and month. They will not tell the year. It's incomplete, no. 15 July 1973. Starting. What time? This is what will ask. What time? Hey, why do you want to know? I didn't. I just gave him the time. This is what my man told. I don't know. This is what it is. After 3 months, he came back with my horoscope. Man, I went to that, some, place in Vaidiswaran, Koil, that place he had gone there to ask someone and all that, some weird things, he said. Entertainment, but not educating or anything. What is it? My starting point, I know, but I don't know my end point. My starting, I know. Same way, I believe the world also must be having a starting point. How naive our thinking is. Since I had a beginning, world also must have had a beginning. Since I occupy a space, there must be world also occupying some space. So it must be having a starting point and end point. Let's say we say, no, what is your size? When we say, this is a starting point, this is an end point. That's what it is. And then you take, this is the size of mine. What is your, this size, that size, each size is given. No? Order to stitch. Same way we think what world also must be having one, this. So it must be having this starting point and this end point. Same way, causation. It also must be having a starting point and there must be an end point for it. And we ask a question. So what is the starting point of what time the world started, began? What place the world started? What is the first cause? This is the fundamental question we ask. Assuming that the question is valid, genuine, relevant. You may be genuine. Tick. It may appear to be valid also. Tick. Your sincerity. But when you investigate, the question looks invalid. The authenticity of the question, the logic of the question, flawed. There is a flawed logic. When you are asking the question, when did I begin? You can give an answer. What is the starting point for you, sir? You can give. What is the cause? You can give. What is this? You can give. But when you are asking the same question with reference to the world, it will appear very genuine. Correct? No. There must be a starting, correct? He is arguing there. He is explaining there is a flaw. There is no answer to it. Don't try for an answer. There's no answer to this question. Vedanta says this question cannot be answered. And anyone who attempts to answer the question doesn't know what he is answering. Why? Because not that there is no answer, not that it is because of my ignorance, it is because your question is flawed. What is a flaw in the question? He says, the flaw is this. You are dividing time into two aspects. Unless you divide it, there is no way that you can say what time the time began. If I say 6 o'clock, morning or evening? Evening 6 o'clock. That evening 6 o'clock is possible unless there is 5 o'clock. Unless there was 12 o'clock. it will go backwards. Same way space. At what point it started, sir? Because world itself is space. Now you are dividing that into two and putting it at the other side. Same way, causation. World means causation. Now, how can you extricate one aspect of it and put outside and say, this is the cause of that? It's like just cutting my one finger and keeping it outside and say, this is the cause of my body. This part of the body. You cannot pull it out. It is not possible. It is a flawed application. So the question of at what time the time began itself is a flaw. And that is the topic. Next class, all that you have to do is just read through. You read, you will understand it. Very simple. Right? No need for further explanation on this. So we saw what is the sequence of the chapter. What is the sequence in which we are going here in the chapter? We'll see in the next class, reading and all that. Thank you.